health. So my role consists of meeting with students one-on-one. That's a lot of what I do. I do a lot of assessment and referral. So students that are having more significant issues around mental health, I may be doing, with your blessing and your child's blessing, help with referrals to outside agencies. There's some agencies that we collaborate with as well, even within the school. I really have a passion for facilitating student support groups. I recognize that now more than ever, students might not be feeling as connected as we'd like them to be. So I do plan on doing groups, likely we'll start out virtually. And again, a consultant to teachers and parents. And then I also serve as part of our risk review team. And that's a time where all of the non-teaching staff, so our support staff, so counselor, social worker, assistant principal, bar coordinator, we get together and we plan interventions to figure out how to best support students that are struggling. I will be brief because I know there's a lot to get through. I just want to acknowledge that, you know, we don't necessarily have that baseline of knowing your students. And so this is where I would say to you as parents, teachers won't have as many opportunities to kind of know what the baseline of your child is and notice those changes in affect, mood, behavior. So if you are picking up on those things, please do not hesitate to reach out. I am happy to be a consultant, and I will happily try to assist in teasing out, you know, what's normal clinical angst, you know, or clinical, or what do you call it, teenage angst, and something clinical, and then also the variable of the pandemic. It complicates things. So I work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I will have a Google Voice number. I didn't put it up here, but I check email all the time, and I'm happy to set up phone calls as well. So please do not hesitate to reach out if you're worried about your student, or if your student is struggling, don't hesitate to reach out for support. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Barb Nelson. I am seeing some familiar names and faces on the sidebar there with everyone. Some of you may have come to enrollment nights last spring when we were working with the 8th graders at our middle school, and many of you, we have over 80 new freshmen that are joining our class of 2024, and those are students coming from all over. Some have moved into St. Louis Park. Some are open enrolling coming from surrounding communities. So we want to give, first of all, a big welcome to all of those people. We really are excited for you to be part of our park family. I myself am a park grad, and it's great to be here in the community I grew up in and love to support and be part of. So you may have seen me, like I said, during that time. I also will kind of be with you all this year as your 9th grade counselor. What happens in our counseling office then, and part of that, the reason for that is working with the BAR program and the consistency. After 9th grade, students will go into 10th grade and they spend grades 10 through 12 with the same counselor. So they build that relationship over the next 3 years and work their way towards graduation. I always love to show this little cartoon just to put a little fun in things. If you're like me, usually I love to have people raise their hands in the audience when we do this in the auditorium, just to get a gauge on how many of you have had students that have gone through the high school before and kind of understand that high school experience. And so people who haven't, if this is your first freshman or first student going through the high school, you can look around and see that you will make it through. I have actually a senior this year at Maple Grove High School, and I have a freshman as well. So I'm in the throes with you, kind of going through this for the second time. Jumping in, getting my freshman set for high school and classes and all of that. And as you know, our teenagers can be kind of surly sometimes, and we kind of want to lock them in the backyard, but we can't do that. We have to be adults and kind of work through things with them and be our best selves. So, but sometimes we know that it can be a tough situation. So Marley, who spoke before, she and I have worked together for over 20 years, I think now, and it's great to have her back. She took a couple years ago. So our roles overlap a lot, and I kind of just cut and pasted. There are things that we do that are very similar, and we work really together as a team with our 9th grade BAR program, but there are additional things, schedules, new student enrollments, registration when that comes around again the following year, that kind of are things that I will take care of, and also the college and career related questions. It's really fun for me to get to know students as freshmen and then pass them along to the other counselors. But I end up building relationships that kids will come back, you know, year after year over the next 3 years. And there's some freshmen that are ready to make a 4-year plan, for example. And I think I may have mentioned that during those registration meetings, that typically October, November is a time that we would spend doing that if you want to look at kind of looking at basically a 3.5-year plan or 4-year plan for the rest of high school, to be able to look at classes and things and to talk about kind of what kids want to do after high school. So it's fun when I get students that are ready for that, but some students aren't. They're ready just for the 9th grade experience and getting through that. So we're happy to support them as well. If your student has a 504 accommodations plan, that's something I also will help you with, and I've reached out by email to those families. I just want to make a special note too, if your student has an individual education plan, they will be assigned a case manager here at the high school. And so that is someone, we've obviously been in a lot of meetings. We're trying to get ready this week. This is the first week that staff are actually back. And so those case managers will be reaching out and getting in touch regarding the IEP programming for students, and if you have any questions. Just one thing to note, and I think I've actually had some emails and calls and kids checking in if they do have a schedule issue. For the 2nd year now, we're using a Google schedule change form. And so on PowerSchool, when you go to log in, there's a link to that online schedule change form. It would be really great, and this is an opportunity for you as a parent to kind of help give your student that independence. If they have a schedule question or issue, have them fill out that form. When they fill it out, they need to check their email. There was a young man that I've emailed back and now haven't heard back from, so they need to check that email again, but encourage them to reach out if they have questions. Obviously, if it's something they're not comfortable doing that, I'm happy to get an email from you, but we really want to encourage the 9th graders to start being advocates for themselves and reaching out to the adults in the building, because that's what we're here for. We want to get to know them and build relationships, and a big part of it for them is having a good schedule. So I worked really hard to make sure kids were set. The schedule this year is very tight in terms of classes, and there isn't a lot of room for movement. And we tried to get students their first choice of an elective, but in some cases their alternate may have been selected. So first option is to use that online schedule change form. Otherwise, they can email me directly. I also have a Google Voice number that I put up there, as well as my direct number here at school. So I really look forward to getting to know you and your students this year and working with them. It's such a fun place to be, to see these freshmen come in and go through the next 4 years and all the changes, even that you as parents will see as well. One other thing I just wanted to note, you should have received a back to school mailing, and in that mailing was an informational booklet. This booklet is an invaluable resource to you, and I would just, tuck it in that drawer or that cupboard. I know that's what we have at home, where all that important school stuff goes, because you can find just about anything you need to know about the high school. Contact people, information about programming and programs. So definitely keep that, or if you need another copy, let us know. We do have it electronically and can send it to you that way as well.
So this is actually what we covered last night. So if you have any questions about this, we can go through it. If I could see just a thumbs up from people on screens, that would help, or you can use your reaction tool if you want to go through this. I don't want to repeat if we don't need to, but I also don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to go through it, but I'm going to go through it somewhat fast, okay? So this year we are starting in a distance learning model. So the classes will follow our school hours from 8:25 to 3:15 daily. On our schedule, as you can see in the picture, the yellow boxes will be the synchronous, our live classes. So students will be asked to be online for the entire 45 minutes for that period. Teachers will be providing new instruction and working with students on the tasks for the week. Now on that first Monday, where we'll have the odd periods will be synchronous, the even periods will be, students will be able to get help, support. We'll have them check in with their teachers if need be. Teachers will be available for that entire hour, but not necessarily providing new instruction or live instruction. So students will have the opportunity to work in small groups, or work with the teacher on tasks, whatever they're looking for on the asynchronous activities that they need to complete. On Tuesdays and Fridays, Park Connection does meet, as we talked about a couple times. Park Connection meets every day from 11:45 to 12:15, and that is Monday through Friday. And Wednesdays are feedback days. And so here's what I just explained. Yeah, okay. So synchronous classes are mandatory, while asynchronous classes are not mandatory. We will be taking attendance for all of the synchronous class periods. So all of the classes that are being held live we will have attendance taken for those classes. Park Connection is online, and feedback days, we are based on the survey information and the feedback that we got. We really heard that parents and students need to hear more from their teachers about how they're doing in class. So those will be opportunities to have more conversation and hear from teachers and really have that one-on-one time to get feedback around instruction. On the asynchronous class periods, the math department is expecting all students to log on for at least the first 10 minutes, as they want to make sure that all students are understanding the material. And then they'll give more instruction on whether they're going to be having Google Meets in small groups, or be doing asynchronous activities that the teachers will assign. The teachers will be using Desmos and be working with their students virtually in various different ways. And I'm going to talk about all of the supplies that we're going to be having as well. So distance learning 2.0, and Wendy, if you wanted to take over, that would be awesome.
I'd be happy to. Parents, I want to reiterate that when you looked at that schedule and the yellow highlighted boxes are live synchronous instruction that will also be recorded and stored in Schoology. So your child can go back and hear instruction again and so on. When you look at those white, unhighlighted, non-highlighted boxes, those are still, the teachers are online for your kids to log in. Okay, their Zoom or Google Meet link will be in Schoology for them. And as a parent of a 9th grader, I would say they log in every single hour. The purpose of those asynchronous classes is to continue to provide support for our kids as they learn. And as you get to high school, these credits count towards graduation. And we want our kids to get a great start. And as we move into hybrid, it's the exact same schedule. And we want you to reinforce that school runs all day. The non-highlighted boxes, however, once a student shows that they know how to do the work and they're getting the work done, they have the flexibility then to either get more enrichment with that teacher, work in small groups in a Zoom breakout room to assist with their classmates' understanding. It's incredible when you learn something new and then you teach someone else, you learn it even deeper. So we want to really create a community of learners, and that's why we're providing that option. What we didn't think was healthy or good for anyone is to sit and get in front of a computer, you know, from 8:25 to 3:15 every day. We know we all need breaks, and we've built them in what we think can be a very good schedule for students. But please, school is all day, every hour. Connections is every single day. even on Wednesdays when it's a very flexible day that Jessica was just describing, because that's a day where parents, you can set appointments with teachers, one-on-one, we can do small group work with kids. And I've intentionally left that Wednesday pretty unstructured, because our goal is to listen to the needs of our students and work with them creatively to design what do they need. I said last night in our town halls that I have never ever before seen so many young people dealing with depression and anxiety and high levels of stress. And you know, as we look at our world and how fast things are moving prior to this pandemic, you know, this didn't just happen because of the pandemic. And so we want to just kind of give room in our lives to breathe and to focus on setting goals and working towards those goals and listening to our students and designing something different. This is what's so beautiful about this opportunity. We're given the educational freedom to work with our kids and create something really special. So I'm just really excited about that. And if it doesn't end up working, if kids aren't logging in and getting their needs met, we'll have to structure it more fully. And what I want to share with you is our plan is to continue to improve as we learn how our students are responding and how things are going for them. So nothing is set in stone except for the first, you know, get up and running, and then we're going to adjust as absolutely necessary. So let's see if you want to skip ahead, Jess. I'll read and share with Distance Learning 2.0. Go back one if you would. Last spring was a crisis. It was not education as usual. That's why we've worked so hard to prepare for a very unique and much deeper and richer experience for your kids. So again, teachers take attendance every hour. We go back to regular grading. It's not pass-fail. Wednesdays, I said, exist for timely and specific feedback. You can make appointments, tutoring for your kids, catch-up, makeup work, small group work, check-ins, creative options to help our kids get what they need. Remember, if your child is sick, you still need to call in to our attendance line just like before. So this is really a true distance learning model, unlike last spring, which was not. Would you like me to talk about connections? Okay, Park Connections, you've heard a lot about that, and hopefully by now you've been contacted by your child's connections teacher. If you have not, we need to know. They've been working on that all week, and they've left messages in some cases, and they've been required to be in several trainings and so on, but they're still working on that, because next Tuesday and Wednesday, we are starting our year very differently. It's starting with each of our teachers are meeting one-on-one with each of the kids. We're doing it for safety, but we're really focusing on creating Park Connections to create that intensive relationship with at least one point person for your student and for you as a family at the high school, who really knows your child and can really serve as a trusted adult for your child to be able to talk about what they need. What we're really embedding into Park Connections is that of Park Pride, which stands for we're purposeful. We really build things on our relationships, inclusiveness, dependability, and excellence. It serves as our advisory to build community. We've heard before, doing college and career readiness. We're going to really focus this year on social and emotional learning. How are our kids doing? What are they feeling? What are their behaviors telling us about what they need? Are they able to make responsible decisions? Are they able to engage in group discussions? Are they able to enter into a friend group or make good decisions about whether that group is a good group for them or not? Can they listen to and hear new and different perspectives and apply it to their growth and development? There's a lot of things that we're excited to embed into our Connections curriculum regarding social and emotional learning. And lastly, it's so exciting in this school, our community partners have provided the resources for us to have every one of our freshmen take what's called the Strengths Finder. What we know about learning is if we can find how students best learn and what their strengths are, we can focus in on that and help them have more success. Building on success creates more success. So starting with sound relationships, social emotional learning, lots and lots of activities to build community and make new friends, and focusing on strengths helps us really provide a great experience for your kids. And remember, connections is every single day, even on those Wednesdays where word is out, kids are saying in the community, we don't even have school on Wednesday. Well, yeah, we do. It's for you to get the help you need. Okay, connections every day. Set your alarms, 11:45 to 12:15. They need to log in. Each connections class has between 18 and 23 students in it. So it's a really nice small group of students. We're very proud of that. We worked hard to develop that.
Okay, technology updates. So as you can see, we are, go to the next one. You can, we are using Zoom, so that's very exciting for us. We just were able to purchase Zoom last week, and so we're super excited about that. As you can see, the abilities and the use of Zoom is so great, and we're about to show you our really cool breakout rooms in a couple minutes. So Zoom is going to be a huge instructional tool for us, and we're looking forward to it. Last year, we heard very loud and clear that students and parents were overwhelmed by the amount of dashboards and amount of programs and apps that were being used. So we are taking somewhat of a step back, but really focusing all of our efforts on Schoology and making sure that everything is based out of Schoology. So when you are looking at your students' work, you can log on to Schoology and it mirrors what the students are seeing. So on the right-hand side, there is all of the tasks and assignments that students will be asked to complete. And then in the middle, we'll show all of the courses. And we are working on actually some parent education on how to utilize Schoology in the best way, as well as how to even navigate Schoology from the parent side. Google Classroom will still be used. We are really looking at what's best for our teachers, as well as what is best for our students. And some teachers find Schoology to be a little clunky, so they like Google Classroom, and others are vice versa. So we want to make sure that we're meeting all of our students and teachers' needs. But everything, even on Google Classroom, will still be based out of Schoology. So Schoology will be the primary spot for students to look into. Then we will still be using Google Meets as well as Zoom. If your student needs a device, please contact your Park Connections teacher. We will be handing out devices on the 8th and 9th at the same time that you're coming in for your orientation and picking up supplies, which we'll talk about in a second. Or you can reach out to Deb Sparling or Ellen George in the Media Center. We want to make sure that everybody has what they need to be successful. So orientation meetings on September 8th and 9th. We will be having orientation meetings for students to come in. They'll have a 30-minute conversation with their advisory teacher or Park Connections teacher, and really walk through logging on, are doing whatever they need to get set up, making sure that all of their classes are in Schoology and that they have a clear understanding of where they need to go to get to everything that they need. And also setting up some plans for success on how they're going to navigate their workload over the course of the year, our quarter semester, or whatever distance looks like. So in that 30 minutes, it's also just a time to get to know the kids and get to know each other so that they can have a great connection as we move through the year, as Park Connections will continue through the year, no matter what model we're using. When the students come in, they'll also get a chance to take their yearbook photos. 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, so your freshmen, will be taking their yearbook pictures in the building in the activity center. And so that picture will also then be updating their ID. And at that same time, they'll be able to pick up their supplies and textbooks. Every student has been assigned a box, and teachers have been putting all kinds of stuff into the box throughout this week. And as we speak, there's people checking out all of those books to students. So we're making sure that everybody has what they need as we move forward. In your distribution box, you're going to see a lot of stuff. Your textbooks, the students' ID cards are in there, a printed copy of the student's schedule, a safety pledge that they'll go over with their Park Connections teacher, just stating that they will wear a mask and keep social distance when they're in the building. All of those different pieces that we want to make sure that students are going to observe while they're here. The math department has also purchased every student a whiteboard. It's plain on one side and then graph paper on the other. And they're going to be issued their own SLP mask. It's not nearly as cool as my strength one, but pretty cool. So here's my strength. Oh, here's my strength mask. But it's very similar, but it is just SLP. It doesn't have the weightlifting Oriole. So as we, and then the mask is going to be going into the box. And then any supplies that you might need. We'll be including some just general things in the boxes for kids to use. If the student is meeting virtually with their teacher, we're still going to need you to pick up the box from the school at any point in time. The building is open and available for pickup from 7 to 4 Tuesday, sorry, next week's Labor Day, Tuesday through Friday next week. And you can just come in and pick that up. We would love for you to call if you're coming in, just so that we can monitor how many people are coming in to the building at any given time. So then what do we need from you? Wendy, do you want to do this or do you want me to take this one?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
What do we need from families? Well, it starts with, we need your support. We need you to be positive, and can you switch the slide, Jess? Be positive and encouraging and realizing that while things aren't the same as they've been, it doesn't mean it's not going to be great. Please, if we are talking around our kids and our attitude is, oh, this is terrible, or this is not going to work, or whatever, our kids pick up on that. And we do believe this can work. And I've never led a school in a pandemic before, and I don't know anyone who has. So all I can tell you is there's not one person on this staff that is not working so hard to deliver for your kids. They miss the kids, and we love your kids, but we also need them safe. And so we ask you to stay positive. We ask you to set up a workspace in your home, remove distractions. School is your child's job, right? Many of you are having to work from home, right? And you've had to set up a job and a workspace. Well, we ask you to do the same for your student. We ask you also that we expect them to be dressed appropriately while they log on. We want them to use the cameras so that our teachers can look for facial expression and whether they're getting or not, or they can often do checks for understanding with a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down or sideways. They need a little bit more instruction and so on. And we've got to set this up so that we can continue to build that relationship. And if the cameras are turned off, it's very difficult to do that. So we really want you to support that they're dressed appropriately, they're awake, they're not sitting there in their jammies or something inappropriate, so they're doing school. That's their job. We are following the school hours. We'd ask you to check in with your student on a regular basis and also check in with their connections teacher. Just see what's happening and what's going on in school. We want to work together as partners to be there for your kids. We ask for your grace, and we ask for, we want to be held accountable. We want to hear what's working. We want to hear what's not working so that we can continue to create what's going to work best, because there's no playbook on this, right? We're writing it as we go. If you have the ability, we appreciate if you can donate supplies so that we can provide for kids and families who are suffering some hard financial times throughout this. We get them right to the kids. And come to family nights or conferences. They're all virtual, of course, but we want to hear your voice. We want to hear how your child is feeling about school so we can meet those needs here at school and really engage in trying to find out what are the barriers to their learning and being successful. We invite you to attend our events and games, as numbers allow, of course. But we're so grateful. Our local Park TV has agreed to stream all of our home athletic events because we can't allow our stands to be full. We've got MDE is in the Minnesota State High School League has set very specific rules on what we can allow and so on. And so we have to abide by that as well. And then every week, it's already been mentioned that we publish a 6425 newsletter. And when I came here, I'm like, what is this 6425 newsletter? And I had no idea. And it was all over. And people said, oh, it's great. It's great. Well, what is it? Well, it's the address of the school building. So 6425 is our address. And that's what our community has come to know and appreciate in terms of weekly communication and pictures, and we like to recognize kids, and it's just really become what I've observed after reading several of them, just a fabulous communication tool to celebrate our kids and to thank our community and make sure you know exactly what's going down here at the high school. So I'm excited to be able to contribute to that each week. Okay. Let's see. I've lost. I'm sorry, I've lost.
A little technical issue on our side. Just a second.
This is frustrating. Okay.
We're actually moving into our breakout rooms though. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to put you in a breakout room with some parents that have survived freshman year, and so that you can ask questions of each other and really get some clarity. Sometimes in a big setting, especially with this many people, there's just a lot going on, and so we want you to have that chance to have a conversation. So we will be placing you in breakout rooms. It'll do it automatically, and then we're going to bring you back together in about 15 minutes. And then we can ask any other questions if you have questions then. So here you go, virtual breakout rooms. See you in 15 minutes. Yep, it's all good. It's all good. We're all going into one breakout room. Oh. If you are still with us in this room, I'm going to assign you right now. So just give me 1 second. Virtual conducting. I'm good. Maybe.
Hi. There's no one in our group that seems to be experienced or leading it.
Oh, that is not true because I see Clarence Pollock is in this room and I know that Clarence is an experienced parent, but I would love to lead it for you. What questions can I answer for you guys?
I've got nothing so far.
That's great.
Nobody was talking.
Jess, I wasn't sure that I didn't know I was supposed to lead.
No, you're fine, Clarence.
Oh.
I just knew that you were in this room. I saw you.
Sorry.
All good. So maybe let's start with just introducing yourselves and then what grades your children are in and how you're feeling about the school year.
So I can start. My wife and I, our oldest child, our son just graduated from St. Louis Park High School in 2020. And our daughter, Margot, is going to be a freshman this year. We're excited.
I'll go next. We have another brand new 9th grader, Griffin, and he's our only. So all of this is brand new in addition to being a pandemic and nobody else knowing what's going on either. But you guys are doing a great job so far, by the way, managing this.
Thank you, and welcome to St. Louis Park High School. Odalys, if you could unmute.
Oh, yeah. So, hi, we are Patricia Lopez Milian parents. She's a freshman this year, and she's only, is our only child. So, it's our first experience in high school.
Awesome. Well, welcome to St. Louis Park High School.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Karita Bentley, and I have a freshman, Ava, and 2 younger girls quickly following her. So we're excited to start at the high school, and I really appreciate these virtual meetings. I've learned a lot, and I've gotten to know, or not gotten to know, but it's nice hearing from you, Jessica, and from the principal as well. I appreciate that.
Awesome, and thank you. Welcome to the.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Liz. We are also new high school parents. My daughter Sarah is our oldest, and then she has a younger brother who is headed into grade 5. So we're learning sort of as we go with all this also.
Hi, I'm Laura Casper, and I have a freshman this year, but I also have a 19 and a 20-year-old who both graduated from St. Louis Park High School.
Welcome to both of you.
Hello, my daughter Autumn, she will be a freshman this year, and then I also have a son who's in the special ed program at the high school as well.
Awesome, welcome to the high school.
Thank you.
So this is just a chance for you guys to kind of talk, ask any questions, even just console each other in the fact that we've lost kind of our beginning of freshman year, but also talk about how we're going to get through this year. Sorry, the building is a little busy tonight. It's a happening place for the building in a pandemic, but just whatever you guys need, this is your time.
We have not heard from a connections teacher, so I just had, or Ava emailed her connections teacher. So we're just waiting to hear back, but.
Who is your connection teacher? Who is Ava's connection teacher?
Lindenberg.
Okay, so I believe she sent out an email. Has Ava been able to get on her email?
Yeah, but she said she hasn't received anything.
I will check in tomorrow, and then I will have Miss Lindenberg reach out tomorrow.
Okay, well, that's okay. I think she reached out, so, or Ava reached out, so we'll see.
We'll get it taken care of.
Thank you.
A question on the connections meeting. Those are just for students, correct? We can drop them off and they can navigate their way and do that, or are we supposed to be there for that?
So that is totally up to you. If you would like to come with them, you are more than welcome to come in. But that could also just be a time for your students to come in and have that first initial, oh my gosh, this is a really big building moment. Or you can come with them, whatever is more comfortable for you and for your student. So
Right.
totally your call.
Follow-up question to that.
Yep.
Are they meeting with their connections teacher for the full 30 minutes and then doing the pictures and all the other stuff, or is that part of the 30 minutes?
So great question. Will actually be a 30-minute plus the picture and if they need to check anything out. So we're telling people to plan on about an hour in the building. Great question. So we have talked about the freshman block team is incredible, and I got to be the freshman administrator last year, and I'm super excited to do it again this year. But the freshman block teams are really just awesome at building community, and so they have already started talking about what we can do as we start getting more comfortable to create that freshman experience for students. And give them the opportunity to have more of the freshman orientation and freshman welcoming that we were not able to provide for them right now. So we are in talks about that. And I know that there are already students and families reaching out about wanting to come in for different periods of time, and so there's lots of things. So just keep your eyes and ears open for more communication. As we go into distance learning, it's going to be even more important to just be vigilant about reading 6425.
I have another question since you brought up block. So there are three different blocks, right?
Yep, 3 different blocks.
Do the students tend to follow those blocks throughout high school, so it just gets mixed around sophomore? Yep. Okay.
Yep. There are absolutely no rhyme or reason to the blocking, and no rhyme or reason to what happens for the next 3 years after that. It's all about the student choice and what they pick. We put it all into the computer, and the computer does magical things and makes things happen and gives kids schedules.
Okay, thanks.
The really cool thing about the block is that they get to know that group of kids really well. So at a minimum, they have 90 kids that they will know very closely and will kind of travel with throughout the day. And so that mix of kids really just becomes close and becomes that community, because 400 is a big number. And so bringing it down to 90 is a whole lot more manageable to build a community and get to know everyone in that group of 90. And so as students mix and move through the building, they'll get to know more people, but they'll still have their home base of their block teachers and the students that they're in block with.
How does the lunch block and cafeteria work once we get to hybrid?
So there is a slightly different schedule for the hybrid time-wise, just because we have to move 5th hour up and down a little bit. So the periods will be slightly different when we move to hybrid, only by about like the advisory shifts and the lunch shifts. It's very confusing, and I wish I had a picture for you, but the 3 classes alternate throughout that hour and a half. So we'll have 4 lunch periods this year, which is different. We have typically had 3 lunch periods, but because we want to give more space and fewer students in the cafeteria at a time, we did add a 4th lunch. So it ends up being about 150 kids in the lunch period and at any given time, at the most. Seniors, of course, will still be going to lunch. We just couldn't take one more thing away from the seniors. So we haven't taken away their open campus lunch. So, and we've also opened up more seating in the auditorium foyer so that students can spread out more in our building as well. So all of those things are, we're looking at to help navigate that process.
Great, thanks.
No problem. That schedule will be released closer to the date. We didn't want to add any more confusion to an already very confusing process. We've actually said we're not talking about hybrid until September 10th. So.
Do you have a general idea of, so if you're not going to talk about it till then, is there a projection of like, you'd make a decision 2 weeks out or?
21st of September, we have to make a decision for the elementary schools because they're going back K1 on the 28th, and I see Clarence nodding, so I'm correct on the date. And then on the 28th, we'll make a decision about our move. Awesome, Matt. I'm glad you found your email. Thank you so much. And thank you for being on. No worries about camera and mic. And we are going to move back to our main room. And as I'm the conductor, I'm going to leave first.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And the bell's even ringing for me. It's as if.
Thank you.
Strict policies from MDE about that, and so names can't be sent.
Oh, God, I had to leave the meeting. Whew.
We're coming back
All right.
with the PowerPoint.
They were
in
repeating
just-
stuff from last
We're
night.
coming back with the PowerPoint in just a minute.
Okay.
here.
All right, Dominic, how much time do you have left?
Like 10 more minutes. Don't shoot, just keep on crouching. Crouch and aim. Crouch and aim. I just tried to crouch and aim. I got this, all right. Yeah.
Does someone want to put their microphone on mute?
Yes. Can you do that, Jess?
Oh, sorry, we just turned up the volume, Wendy. We were just gonna kind of jump into a question and answer period. So if there are people that do have some questions,
I want that done.
answer
So I
something.
can hold the kill.
We've been trying to answer some things in the chat as we've gone through. So if there's any clarifications from that, we can certainly provide or try to provide some more clarity. Maybe, should I have people? Oh, there it goes. Yes, if people can mute their volume and then maybe just keep writing the questions in the chat. That might be the easiest way. And we can try to answer any of those other questions as they come through. Did you guys do like where people could ask? Did that work? Yeah. Oh, okay. You know what? And if you have a question and just want to shout it out, it sounded like that worked at the town halls as well.
Mm-hmm.
Any?
We had a question in our group about all the
Sorry, I just muted Julie.
Right, we had a question in our group about all the extracurricular activities and how those would be published, or students would know about them. Well, I won't tell you what answer I made up. I'll let you guys make up the right answer.
Good job, Julie. We had that in our group as well. And for families on the website under the activities tab, there is a place you can see all the different things. Some of those may be more active than other different groups. And typically with freshman orientation, we have an activity fair, which is great because the freshmen can walk around and talk to different kids who are in the different activities. So we just couldn't get to a point of recreating that for kids in this setting, but hopefully one of the things I thought about just was having groups kind of record a little introduction to their club or activity or sport or whatever it is, and then we could have those posted on the website. Things will still start to happen. I'm sure there'll be meetings. Typically those meetings happen before school or after school. Right now we've designated Wednesday as a more academic day for support. And so we aren't really having those types of groups meeting during that time, but eventually there may be in a new schedule, time to be able to do that during the day, because we know it's hard for some kids to do that before or after school. But the advisors are probably excited to get some of those groups up and running. I know robotics, debate, all these different clubs and organizations will still want to kind of work on their different activities. So watch for more information, and we'll try to kind of work with Andy Ewald, who's our activities director, to get some more information out to families, especially with freshmen. We know it's a really big year to kind of get connected to high school, and that's a great way to do that.
Hey Barb, this is Michelle. Hey, a question came up in our group regarding just ways to get to know your class, right? Like, so especially freshmen coming in, you may have kids coming from different schools and things like that, not necessarily the middle school where they know everyone, and not everyone's involved in a sport or activity. And so just kind of maybe if you can speak to that from a freshman and just kind of overall class standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is super important for kids, especially knowing that there's, like I mentioned earlier, over 80 new kids that are coming in. And I know the teachers will do an amazing job of trying to connect kids and really not only through connections, the class they'll have every day, because that's just gonna be one of their classes, but in every single class the kids have, the teachers are gonna work really hard to build that sense of community, and their focus maybe isn't gonna be on curriculum, quite honestly, the first couple days, weeks, because they really need to get these kids to get to know each other, and it's very awkward. It's different, obviously, to do that virtually. So they're going to spend some time doing that. Again, with us being able to use Zoom now and be able to do breakout groups and, maybe having groups of 2 or 3 where they'll do something and come back, I think there'll be ways that they can help facilitate that a lot more than we think. And you know what? Kids are used to this. That's how they communicate. I always laugh at my own son who doesn't call anyone. It's all snapping them or, whatever. So there's lots of different ways the kids are used to, but obviously we need them to connect face to face and have conversations and still learn how to do that and do it well. I'm just trying to look at the chat. We will be publishing the slides. We'll probably post those on the website. Unfortunately, we started a little late with the recording, so if you do have friends that missed it, you can fill them in, but we'll publish and put up the recording of what we did catch. All of a sudden I was like, are we recording this? Because it didn't have the button. So let's see, grade level groups in a live setting. You know, until we're cleared to have larger groups together, that probably won't happen because I think there are still some pretty good limits on size. When we met with the freshman teachers to talk about orientation, it was tough because we did want to bring kids in small groups, but even that, we were very concerned about how that would go, you know, and scheduling groups in and getting them here. So possibly before we come back, we may offer something, but we'll have to, as a team, kind of look at that and see if we can have some time slots available. I know that's what some schools have done. You signed up for a time slot. You could come and walk in a small group through the school. And especially for freshmen and new kids, that would help them feel a lot more comfortable before stepping back in the school building, or stepping into it, I should say. They haven't been here. How will choir, band, and orchestra work? Well, I've been on some meetings with those teachers, and I'm amazed at what they're talking about and the things they're doing and planning. So I think you can be assured that they're going to be able to do kind of sectional groups and do small groups, meet with the kids in breakouts and do some different things through the class time that they have. Obviously, it's going to look different when you think about any kind of participatory class, you know, even some of our art classes. But as I was putting schedules in boxes today, you would be amazed at the things the kids are going to find in their little box. I saw a piece of wood, and I think the kids in pottery have to go pick up something from the pottery room. So, oh, they're going to be picking up some clay to bring home, it sounds like. So beware if you have a student in pottery that you may want to get your plastic tablecloth and have a designated space in your house for that. It reminds me, one year when one of my youngest was little, I used to have a sand tray like for kids to play with in my office. Oh, I'll bring this home for the summer. Well, bad idea. I literally put it away after 2 days because there was sand all over. Let's see, Phi Ed. You know, I haven't talked to the Phi Ed teachers, but I know last year they had kids do like a fitness log. And so I'm guessing there'll be more direction this year about different things for them to do and still be logging that activity. Give me any more insight?
I think they're also using like some kind of tracking app and some online tracking for that as well.
So an online tracking, maybe an app or something they can do on their Chromebook to be able to put that together. Just through quarantine, there's been so many great fitness things that have come out. It's pretty amazing what's out there now for kids and adults to do.
So theater is actually, Wendy and I got a note about theater putting together a radio production this year. So they are working on a radio production instead of having a live theater. So they're going to be doing that this year. Kind of like what we've produced for you guys tonight, right? Same idea, just a little bit different, maybe.
Only better, right?
Yeah. They'll have it fully together.
They have tech producers there, so that's all good. I wanted to add, though, that I would invite you, now that you know the names of the teachers, to email them directly, because we don't have the answers to how they're going to teach pottery or woods or Phi Ed right now. And I know the teachers have worked hard to prepare for that. And so I would invite you to contact them personally. And if you don't see you can see your child's schedule in Power School. They will get a hard copy of one in their cardboard box. Don't you love it? Their cardboard box, their supply box. And if you need to print more, I believe you can print them off Power School, can't you, Jessica?
Yeah, you can print them off Power School. We also have some color copies of the schedule that we presented. On the slides, we have color copies of it as well. Good. And you can get that off on the internet as well.
Super.
Yeah, that's a good point. We will talk with teachers too about encouraging them to keep their have students keep their cameras on. I know we did some PD yesterday in the district, and there was a huge difference. One of my instructors really asked everybody to have their camera on, and people were more engaged, and the other person didn't put that request out, and it was a whole different flavor. So it does add a big difference to the setting, and so we'll make sure to mention that tomorrow when we're meeting with staff.
I don't know.
Oh, look what we got, closed captioning. Just, you don't know the things that you can do. If you do have other friends with older students or want to sit through this again, maybe the sophomore, junior, and senior ones are going to be coming up, and those counselors will be available to answer questions as well and add a little more information. And then the Parent Engagement Advisory Committee, there's some meeting listed there, so if you jot those down or take a screenshot so you can put those on your calendar and join in the fun. By then, hopefully we'll have a little more experience with our Zoom meetings. Any other questions? Anyone want to shout something out? Otherwise, we're at 8:29 here. So we'd love to keep going all night. It's kind of typical. Our work days here are long, but we'd want to give you guys some time at home as well. So any other questions? Great. Well, we really appreciate and appreciate you being here and taking the time tonight to spend with us. And we really look forward to getting to know your students. I saw some students last weekend at a hockey game and I was like, oh, I miss kids. It's just hard when we're not able to be around them. So we really look forward to getting to know them this year. It may start out a little different, but we can form those relationships nonetheless. So have a great night, everyone, and feel free to reach out to us if you do have questions.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
Barb.
you.
Barb, are you still there?
Yes. Hi, Keisha.
Hi. So sorry. We just caught the very tail end of it. We are realizing that all of our school emails are dumping into a promotions inbox instead of our primary one.
Oh, lovely.
You would think I'd have been a little more on top of this, but is there a way we can watch this as a recording?
Yes, it will be posted. We missed the very beginning, but
Okay.
the bulk of it is, and I don't know what it does. We did breakout sessions with, for about 15 minutes. So I don't know if
I don't even know what that's going to look like.
it may
So
just
you'll
be
have
a,
to let us know.
yeah, it may just be a gap you can fast forward through and then get to the end,
Sure.
just for this quick question and answer thing we did. Let us know how that works.
Where will I find the link to the recording?
It'll get posted tomorrow on our, probably in the counseling student services page.
Okay, I'll look for it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. If you need us to change your emails, let us know.
Well, this is the first year that's happened. Our email's been the same forever, so I have to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah, weird. All right. Hey.
I would like to change the email.
Do you want to, sweetie, can you send me an email? Because it'll be easier for me to have it directly written out. So if you send it to nelson.barbara@slpschools.org, I can make a change in your account.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else still on here? I see a few. Any last lingering questions? Or people just don't want to hang up. They want to stay on. We're so fun. Oh, Zam, oh, I think she already hung up, but did you say something about the supply box? If you're, yeah.
I wrote her name down. There's a
Couple specific questions. Oh, Anissa, I think, Allie, were you going back and forth with Anissa?
Oh, nice.
So she was going, what was that?
A little bit, yeah. So
Okay.
I did answer a few of her questions, but I think there were a few things that when people were
It's hard to
speaking, she was answering too,
Okay.
or she was
I
getting her
know
questions answered.
Kelly wrote her name down, so
I
she'll
saw
be-
that, yeah. And I told her, I just said, yeah.
She'll be your new friend. That would be
Exactly. I'm like, well, I answered the question